So you've got a website and you know people are going to it, but what the hell do they actually do when they get there? And more importantly, why don't more of them buy from you? If you're like most businesses, you don't want to just get traffic to your website. You actually need that traffic to turn into lots of leads and sales every month. The first step in knowing why more people aren't converting on your website is knowing your way around Google Analytics. But the problem is, Google Analytics is really complicated. And after a few hours of hair pulling, it's completely natural to just put it in the too hard basket and go back to doing the things that you understand. In recent years, we've reviewed literally thousands of Google Analytics accounts, and what we've discovered is a pretty quick way to find out exactly what's going on with a website's traffic and leads. And more importantly, how things could be improved. In this video, we're going to show you the exact strategy that we use to review a business's Google Analytics account and find out exactly what the hell is going on with their traffic generation and lead conversion. If that sounds of interest to you, then stay tuned. Hey, it's Jason McMahon here from Bambrick Media. We've spent over 20 years and tens of millions of dollars working out exactly how digital marketing works and how it doesn't. And we're going to be releasing a ton of video content to help you make your digital marketing more effective and more profitable. If you're new here, then please go ahead and click the subscribe button to make sure you get all the latest videos as they go live. Okay, so here we are. This is the inside of a Google Analytics account. Now, the website that I'm going to use for this example is actually our website. And the reason I'm going to do that is that way I can show you all the data without worrying about sharing anything sensitive and client specific. The other thing that's worth saying here is our website is a lead generation website in that the end goal is actually to generate a phone call or a form fill or some sort of other lead that goes into your CRM. It's just if you've got one of those other websites like an e-commerce or perhaps a digital publication website, then there are a couple of key steps at the end which might be a little bit different. We won't go into those specifics in those videos because it doesn't affect most people, but we may do separate videos on those another day. But for now, let us show you this process, and I'm sure that regardless what sort of website you've got, there's going to be some value for you here. So the starting screen is this home screen, which is also referred to as the overview section. Now the overview section is helpful because there's lots of little modules and you can see lots of different metrics like, we're looking at the last 7 days here. So how many people have been to the site in the last 7 days, how long they've been spending, how many people are active on the site right now, the different channels and sources that are driving traffic, days of the week, locations, device types, a lot of really helpful stuff. But and if you know your website traffic really well, then perhaps this is going to be of value to you. But if you haven't spent a lot of time in Google Analytics, or you're looking at your website traffic for the first time, or you're just really trying to understand it, then this really isn't where we'd start. This section really answers the question of how are people getting to my website. Where we start when we're reviewing a new website is we jump straight over here into acquisition, all traffic, channels. Now, when you arrive in here, you're probably going to see this one straight line graph, that doesn't seem super helpful, or informative. The very next step that we always take is we take this time range out to as long as possible. Let's say we make it 9 years. That should be long enough to get a sense as to what's going on. And the reason that we do that is now we can start to get a sense of how much traffic the website's actually getting and how it's growing over time. Now, one thing that this has reminded me to tell you is when you look here at this line graph over time, it looks like our website's only been getting traffic since about last year. And we've been in business for a lot longer than that, so I know that that's not right. The reason that you're only seeing traffic there for the last year is about a year ago we realized we were getting a lot of what's called referral spam in our Google Analytics account, which means that we were getting lots and lots of sessions and views and visitors to our website that they weren't really meaningful. Quite often it's just automated traffic. It's basically computer programs crawling the internet and looking at lots of different websites. Now, there's two ways that you can deal with that referral spam. If you do a lot of business overseas, it's quite a bit harder, and you might actually need to go through and exclude all of the different referral sources, but that's a more manual and time-intensive process. If you don't do any business overseas, you can do what we've done, which I'll show you now, which is just to create an alternate view. So if you see here, we've actually got two Google Analytics views. We've got one for our all website data and one for our Australian visits. If I click on all website data for a second, you'll see that the time range goes back here a lot further, back to 2014. So we've got 5 years of data in this one, whereas only a year of data in the other one. And you'll notice that the volume of traffic coming in on a monthly basis is about half as much in the Australian visits as in the all website data one. So this separate view just makes it really easy to see the real traffic as opposed to the bot traffic. So this is where we start. On here you can see that the site's getting some traffic, that it goes up and down, and that's quite common depending on seasonal demand. In some industries there's more demand around Christmas time, in other industries there's less, in some industries there's more demand around end of financial year, in other industries there's less. There's lots of reasons for this. What you really want to do if you want to get a comparison as to whether your traffic is going up or down is probably do some year-by-year comparisons. But for now, let's move on and have a look at where this website's getting its traffic from. So on this section, acquisitional traffic channels, you just scroll down, and down here, you'll see all of the different channels that are actually driving traffic to the website. Now, you can see our website's getting traffic from organic search, direct search, paid search, etc., etc. And the other thing that's probably important to point out here is what actually is a channel. There's actually two things here that sound similar but are slightly different, which is channels and sources. When I go into sources, what I get is all the different ways that the website gets traffic. Let me talk through a couple of them. So you've got Google organic search. So that's somebody who's used the search engine Google and has clicked on one of the organic listings. And then maybe we'll look at another one. We've got Google CPC. So this is somebody who's used Google search engine and they've clicked on a paid ad. Then we've got somebody who's used Facebook and clicked on a paid ad, and then Instagram and a paid ad, or Bing, the search engine, and a paid ad, or Bing organic listings. So these are all the different sources of where you can get website traffic from. Where channels is a little bit different is channels is actually groups of sources. Let me show you what I mean. The benefit of channels is it actually batches all the sources together. So we're looking here at organic search. This row here of organic search is actually going to be a combination of all the traffic that our website's getting from the organic results in different search engines. So for example, Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. Any traffic that's coming to us from a search engine and isn't clicking on a paid ad is listed here in this column. Then again, if we scroll down to paid search, for example, that batches together all of the traffic that we're getting from paid ads on search engines. For example, Google ads, Bing ads, etc. The reason we start by looking at channels instead of sources, as you can see here, we've got only 9 channels, but we might have 20 or 30 different sources. And it's just a lot easier to start at the channel level. So looking at this, you can start to get a sense of, the different channels and how each one's performing. So to talk through some of this, you can see that we get the majority of our traffic from organic search, and then the next after that is direct. Next is paid search, so people clicking on an ad in a search engine, and then other I'll go into in a second. Referral is people coming to our website from other websites. Social is people coming in from obviously social media. Display is people who are clicking on banner ads. Facebook is more social media, and then email marketing as well, which clearly we need to do more of because we're not getting a lot of traffic from that. So that's the traffic side of things. And then we've got these other metrics across here, like here we're looking at users. So this is how many people to the site. Sessions, we're looking at how many times the website has been visited. For example, each user might visit the website, 1.5 times or something like that, which gets our 9,600 users to 16,000 sessions. Then we've got bounce rate, which is the volume of people that only view one page on the website before they leave. If anybody knows anything about bounce rate, they might be looking at that 52% thinking, gee, that's a bit high, which on one specific landing page, I would agree with. However, it's very common to have a whole site bounce rate that's pretty high because you've got different pages on the site for different things. So when you're analyzing bounce rate, you really want to look at it more on a page by page basis, and we'll do that in a second. Pages per session, so how many pages on average does each person view when they come to the site? The average time that somebody spends on the site, the goal conversion rate. So this is the whole website conversion rate is currently at about 5%. Again, if anybody knows anything about conversion rate, they'd know the industry standard conversion rates are 3 to 5%. If we were looking at this on a specific landing page, we would say that 5% is a little bit low. And ideally, we'd like to get a higher conversion rate than that. But similar to bounce rate, you really want to look at conversion rate on a page by page basis. So as an example, and then you've got your goal completions here where you can see exactly how many leads you're getting from each channel. This is really helpful when you're trying to attribute return on investment from all your different marketing spends. And goal value here, we haven't really assigned goal values, but what you could do is you could say, look, if I get a phone call, that's worth $100 to me. If I get a form fill, that's worth $10 to me, etc. We haven't got that set up in our account, and it's not something we see commonly used. The next thing I really want to show you is a different way to view this data
is to click in on this pie graph. Now the pie graph is really helpful because it helps you see the same data, but obviously in a more visual way, and just makes it really, really easy to see where you're getting the majority of your traffic from, where you're getting the majority of the leads from, etc. So once we start to get a sense of where a website's getting its traffic from and also where it's getting its leads from a channel perspective, then we can actually click in on each channel and find out what sources are making that up. So for example, I can see here that we've received 280 leads across this time range from organic search. If I click on organic search and I go to source, I can then see where those 280 leads are coming from. And no surprises, 277 of our organic leads have come from Google, 2 have come from Bing, and 1 has come from Yahoo. So that shows you to find out how much traffic your website's getting, what channels and sources it's getting it from, and also how many leads you're getting from each channel. The other channel worth pointing out just quickly here is the referral channel. If I click on referrals and I scroll down here, this is where you can see a list of all of the other websites that send traffic to your website. Now, if you're in a specific industry that has a lot of publications, maybe you advertise on lots of different websites, this is where you'd see them. Let's say you're buying perhaps banner ads or you've got blogs about you, on specific industry websites. You'll see all those here in the referral traffic for our website, because we do a lot of digital marketing for people and build a lot of people's websites. We get a lot of traffic from client sites. People go to our clients' websites, and click on a link on there to find out who the website was built by or something like that. So you can see all those in here. But yeah, that's the referral traffic section. Okay, now that we've got a good overview as to where the website's getting its traffic from, we want to get more specific. So scrolling down on the left here, we've been into all traffic and had a look in there. Now we want to have a look in this Google Ads section. This section actually links directly with Google AdWords. So this is the best section to answer any questions about what's happening with the Google AdWords or Google display traffic that's coming to the website. Firstly, I'd start off in campaigns. Campaigns gives us an understanding of all the different campaigns they're running, roughly what they're spending, how many clicks they've had, the rough cost per click, sessions, bounce rate, conversion rates, etc, etc, etc. After campaigns, I'd then go in and have a look at keywords. Keywords is obviously going to tell us what keywords that the website is spending money on, and you can see a lot of ours in here. And you can see how much they've spent on each keyword, what the cost is per keyword, etc. And while keywords is important because it tells us the keywords that the business has, or the agency running the campaign, has decided to bid on, what's even more interesting is actually the search queries. In search queries, we're going to see not just the keywords that are being bid on, but actually the terms that people are typing in to arrive at the website. So here you go. In this search queries report, we can see all of the different keywords that have driven traffic to the website using Google AdWords. And then the last section we'd probably want to look at in this Google AdWords section is this final URL section. It gives us an indication as to what pages the website's driving paid traffic at and what the goal conversion rates are on those landing pages. And actually there was one more section worth looking at here in Google AdWords, which is this display targeting section, which shows us exactly what display keywords and placements the website might be spending some money on. Moving on from Google AdWords, the next thing we really want to look at is still under acquisition, but now we want to look under Search Console and queries. Now, as long as the data sharing has been set up, what we're going to see under Search Console and Queries is actually all of the organic search data. So this is all of the data from Google about what the website's organic rankings are and where they get their organic traffic from. Essentially what this shows us is all the keywords that the website is ranking for in Google, what their current positions are, how many times they're appearing, and how much traffic they're getting. And one thing that we really like to do here is to break this up into branded and unbranded search queries. What I mean by that is once you're here and you can see all of the search queries or keywords that are driving traffic to the site, you can click on here and do an advanced filter. Firstly, you might want a filter to show us only keywords containing the brand name. So this shows us all of our branded keywords, how much traffic we're getting from each one, how many impressions, average click-through rate, which you'd expect to be quite high, and average position, which you'd expect to be quite high as well. And then what we want to do is do the opposite. We want to exclude all the search queries containing our brand name and apply that. And now we see all the unbranded keywords that the website is ranking for. This is really valuable. It's a big missing piece for a lot of people's digital marketing puzzle. We can see here that we're ranking for keywords like SEO and digital marketing agency and marketing agency, which makes sense based on the things that our business does. Then again, you see how many clicks we get from each one, impressions, average position, etc. Now, there are two sort of confusing things on this screen. One is this other row. It's caused a lot of complexity and confusion in the industry for some time. For whatever reason, Google doesn't give us all of the information on organic search queries or organic keywords. It keeps some of the data as to how people have gotten to your website through organic search hidden in this row of other. Now, for some websites like ours, that's an issue because for most websites, the volume of traffic that's actually categorized under other, where you can't actually work out the source keyword, is actually the bulk of organic traffic. So that makes it really difficult to attribute return on investment of money spent on search engine optimization, but it's just one of those challenges that the industry is faced with. The second thing that can be a bit confusing on here is what's called average position. What people are very used to seeing is a fixed position. So, you're either in position 3 or 4 or 5, and often when people start to see positions like 9.6 or 9.1, they start to get a bit confused as to, how the position can be a decimal. The reason the positions can be a decimal and the reason that some of these aren't higher than they might actually be is that this is an aggregate. This is an aggregate position over a long time range, and it's also an aggregate position of when that keyword has been searched from lots of different locations. And obviously Google's going to serve different websites in different orders based on where the person's located when they're doing the search and what device they're on, etc. That's the reason for this average position. This section is the right section for answering the question of what's happening with all of the traffic coming to my website from Google's organic positions. After looking at the queries, we'd also click over here and have a look at organic landing pages. And in here we can see all of the landing pages or the pages on the website that users arrive at first after finding that website in an organic search. And you can see here our number one organic landing page is our SEO page, followed by our AdWords page, our web design page, etc. And now to the final section you might want to have a look at under acquisition, which is social. The first section worth looking at in the social section is the overview. In the overview, we can see all the sessions, referrals, conversions we're getting from social, and also which different social networks is driving that traffic. From there, we could click down to network referrals, and in network referrals, again, we can see more information about which social network is driving traffic and page views, etc. Then we could look at landing pages. Obviously, landing pages is going to show us the pages on our website that people visit most often from social. And then finally, conversions. Conversions shows us which social channels or strategies have actually contributed to leads coming through the website. Now that we're done with the acquisition section and answering questions about how people are getting to your website, let's look at a couple of the other key sections. The first one I'm going to touch on really quickly is this real-time section. And on this real-time section, I'm actually going to show you this on another website, not ours, on a client's website. But this is a lot more meaningful if you can see it on a really big website that gets lots of traffic. So on this particular website, you can see that there's 17 people on the website right now. You can see, page views by minute or by second. And scrolling down here, you can see which pages users are actually on right now, and where they've come from, etc. Now this real-time section is interesting, particularly if you've got a big website that gets a lot of traffic. This is the right section to answer all of the questions about what's actually happening on my website right this second. The next section we're going to have a look at is audience. Audience is the right section for answering any questions you have about who is coming to your website. Under audience, we want to start under demographics and overview. And in demographics overview, we can see things like the gender split between men and women and the age distribution of the people coming to your website. From there, we can drill down into geo and have a look at location. And in here, we can see the country, the state, even the city. Also in audience, you might want to have a look down here under mobile and overview to get a split of the people coming to your website from a desktop, a mobile, or a tablet. And again, this is where it's handy to click on the pie graph to see that visually. Okay, so let's do a quick review. How people are getting to our website. We've had a look at who's on our website right now, and we've had a look at the demographics and specifics of who the people are that actually visit our website. Now, let's jump in and have a look at the behavior and see how people are engaging with our site. Let's start under site content, all pages. In here, we're going to get a sense of the average time that people are spending on each page on average. In this section, let's start by going in under site content, landing pages. So here we can see how users are engaging with the website on a page-by-page basis. The page up here is the home page, then the SEO page, then some of our free report pages, our about page, etc. So let's take a page like this free report page, for example. This is probably a good example because you can see here that we've sent 658 users to that website. So 658 different people have been there. There's been 935 sessions total. So that means that each user has been there 1.56 times on average. So this free report page is a really good example. You can see here that we've sent 658 different people to the site for a total of 935 different sessions. And some of the important metrics to look at here would be that people are spending on average 1 minute and 19 seconds reading the page, but something that's really good here is the conversion rate is 22.67%. Again, I mentioned earlier that industry standard conversion rates are 3 to 5%. So to be converting 22.67% of the people that go there into a lead is actually a really, really good conversion rate. And that's what we'd be looking for on something that's specifically a landing page that we're sending traffic out to try and generate leads. And then you can see that that landing page has generated 212 leads in total. And this is where you might go through on a page-by-page basis and say, all right, well, how long are people spending on each of these pages? Well, they're spending 3.5 minutes on this page, 1 minute on this page. Is it okay? Is it not okay? What's the goal conversion rate on each page? Our about page only has a 0.86% conversion rate. So not many people actually fill in a form or inquire directly on that page. Are we happy with that or are we not happy with that? And if we're not, then we can change it. This is actually a great section for where we can start to identify opportunity areas of things that we could change or have an impact on that would start generating more leads without actually having to generate any more traffic. Okay, now to the most exciting section, which is the conversion section. Why is it the most exciting? Well, this is where the website's actually going to be generating or not generating leads. And either way, it's probably the key area we should be focused on. So let's jump straight in here under conversions, goals, overview. Okay, so here we are in the goals overview section. And the first thing we're going to see is all the different goals that are actually set up. So on our website, we've got a few different goals. We've got a goal on our Contact Us page, and we've got a goal on our case studies and websites. And this isn't a full-time range. This is just in June. So I think maybe some of these goals were set up after June, which is why in June they wouldn't have had any conversions. But you can see there in this month that there were 100 leads that came through. 4 of them actually came through as Contact Us form submissions, and 96 of them came through on our Google AdWords content offer, so our free report on that. The next thing you can see down the bottom here is the goal completion location. So you can actually see after people filled in a form, the page that they arrived at. This helps us understand which leads are which and what page they arrive on after they submit the form. Now, in this conversion tracking section, we often see 2 really big problems. The first one is that this conversion section hasn't even been set up. So often we speak to businesses that want to understand why they're not getting more leads through their site, or how come they're not getting enough leads through their Google AdWords campaign or their Facebook advertising campaign. And then we see that there's no conversion tracking set up on the site. And if that's the case, there's really no way of what's working and what's not. So step 1 is make sure it's set up. The second big problem that we see far too often is we often see a lot of conversions set up here that actually aren't even conversions. What I mean is, if you have a look at our conversion tracking here, what you'll see is that what we class as a goal completion or a conversion is when somebody actually fills out a form on our Contact Us page, or when somebody downloads one of our content offers or our case studies. And the reason that all of these are real goal completions or real conversions is that every time one of these things happens, we actually end up with a new lead in our database. So to have 100 goal completions here, that means we got 100 new names, email addresses, and phone numbers in our CRM. When we review these analytics accounts, what a lot of businesses have that they don't realize they have, they'll have conversions set up for things like video views or clicks on social buttons or visitors to the contact page. The problem with that is none of those things are real goal completions. none of those things have actually resulted in a new lead coming into the system or a new name and phone number and email address of somebody that wants to buy from you. And that's a problem because the conversion tracking often dictates the direction of the campaign management. Meaning, whoever's running your Google advertising campaign or your Facebook advertising campaign should be directing budget in the direction of what's generating conversions. And if the conversions being generated are things like clicks on your social buttons or views of your videos, then they're not real conversions. And optimizing your digital marketing campaigns for them isn't going to improve your return on investment. And that's really about it.
That process is the very first step we use every single day to help businesses understand what the hell is going on when people get to their website. And more importantly, how to start turning more of those visitors into paying customers. We really hope you got some good value out of this video. If you have, if you can please go ahead and just click the like button to help this video get seen by more people. Additionally, if you have any other questions about Google Analytics or anything else digital marketing related, please feel free to leave a note in the comments or get in touch with us directly on our website. And finally, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that now so you get all the latest videos as they go live. Thanks again and see you soon.